What's going on, y'all? It's JD Piquel. Today on the Hard Count, which of the new Big 12 teams have a chance to win the Big 12 title first? Welcome into 365 Sports, the place that has you covered year-round, 24/7 on all things college sports. Especially right now, it's college football season. We want you here. We want you a part of it. You're going to want to be a part of it. The Hard Count is a small part of what's going on here, just the tip of the iceberg. Go ahead, click the playlist, click the channel. Tons of other great stuff in there for you. You're not going to be disappointed. In other news, it is all but a done deal by the time this video comes out that there will be 4 new schools added to the Big 12. Obviously, Texas, Oklahoma said, peace, we're out of here. Leaving to the SEC, we said, fine, we don't need you, we don't want you anyway. 4 new schools, come on, UCF, Cincinnati, BYU, Houston, all joining the party. So, again, this has not been approved at the time of this recording, assuming that when this comes out, this will be approved. Lots to unpack here. So, finally, we get to talk about football. We get to talk about what's actually going to happen when these schools do join the conference. No more realignment, no more who maybe is joining, who's not joining, at least for a few months, maybe a year, maybe 2 years, maybe 2023, until we do that second round of realignment, which I think is coming, maybe another video for another time. Here's the deal. These schools are going to line it up against the other 8 Big 12 schools and play some games. That's what's going to happen, and I can't wait for it. That begs the question, who's going to be the most competitive soonest? Even more so, who is going to have the best chance to win a Big 12 title first of these 4? And with Oklahoma leaving, I think this opens the conference a ton. Like, there's going to be a lot of parity, I think, approaching us in the coming years for the Big 12. So assuming it's not one of the other 8, and that's not really what this is about. Like, I'm very much aware that I think of those 8 schools, there's a chance that one of those 8 wins it first. I think TCU is in a really good spot to make a run at it, getting down a rabbit hole. Of these 4, who has a chance to win the Big 12 title first? So we're just going to go down the line and kind of size up these schools and what it's going to look like on the football field as it pertains to the future in the Big 12. So for BYU, I would not be surprised in the slightest if they were the first one to win the Big 12 title out of these 4. First of which being BYU has played, for the most part, the closest thing to a Power 5 conference schedule. They've been independent, obviously, but they've played a lot of really good teams in the past, and they've done really well in the past on the gridiron. They obviously played well against Texas, got their DC fired not too long ago. But for BYU, my question is, how can you continue to recruit to a school like BYU with all the stipulations and all of the different things that go into the handbook? BYU is not the easiest place to recruit to. There's a lot of things that come with BYU as a recruit where you're like, BYU or maybe Texas Tech. Like, Texas Tech is a lot easier lifestyle. I should say there's a lot less reining you in, if you will, than there would be at BYU. So BYU has done a phenomenal job. I think they'll be able to recruit better than they are right now. They'll be probably a better on-field product, in my opinion, than they are right now because of the fact they'll have the Big 12 branding and be able to walk into living rooms and market themselves as a Power 5 school. But that still brings up the question, how many guys are you missing out on because of what your handbook includes in it? Does that make sense? Are you following with me? Are we tracking? Are we reading between the lines just a little bit here? There's some things that a lot of college students want to partake in that would get you in trouble at BYU. I'll leave it at that. Houston. Maybe Houston is the most interesting case study in this whole thing because they're in the state of Texas. And so Houston has access to a lot of elite talent right off the bat from a recruiting standpoint. But for Houston, how much of that talent are you able to rake in? Because you still have to go toe-to-toe with Texas Tech, TCU, Baylor for all those in-state recruits. So Houston, yes, you're a Texas school, but when you get juxtaposed next to all the other Texas schools, are you the most attractive option? And so that might be a bit of a project. I think Houston has the firepower, has everything that you need in terms of a market, school. Right now, I think they have the right guy at head coach with Dana Holgorsen. Who knows how long he sticks around? Again, I'm not looking to a magic 8 ball here and telling you Dana Holgorsen's out in the next X amount of years. I'm just saying coaches change. Will Dana Holgorsen be the guy to bring them to a Big 12 title? Remains to be seen. Interesting to talk about. But as a whole package, Houston compared to TCU, Baylor, and Texas Tech, I don't know if you'll get the horses as quickly as some of these other schools might be able to. So Houston would not surprise me. Again, none of these schools would surprise me, but I think Houston has more up against it in the same way they have more of an advantage being in Texas. It's a kind of a double-edged sword there. So Houston, if you can recruit Houston really well, if you can recruit the metro area of Houston and keep all that talent within like the state of Houston, like they talked about the state of Miami when Howard Schnellenberger was there, keeping all that talent home. If you can do that, kind of like you did with Ed Oliver, that could change the entire complexion of your program going forward and could cause you to be the team that wins the Big 12 title first. But my money is probably elsewhere as it pertains to this race. Cincinnati. This to me all hinges on Luke Fickell, because Luke Fickell has built a really solid program down there in Cincinnati. All right, I mean, obviously having a New Year's Six bowl appearance a season ago, falling just a field goal short of beating Georgia. Things are happening in Cincinnati. Cincinnati is a great market. I don't know exactly how their recruiting will be, what's the right word? I don't know how it matches up as well with a school like UCF or with a school like Houston in terms of what they have access to. Great football talent in Ohio, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying Ohio compared to schools that are in Florida and schools that are in Texas, I don't know where that leaves you exactly for Cincinnati. But getting back to the point that I was making, Luke Fickell is how this will hinge for me. Because I don't know if Luke Fickell is going to stay at Cincinnati long term. Now, granted, Cincinnati became a much more attractive job right now in 2023 when they joined the Big 12. It's a Power 5 school. But Luke Fickell, he's from Ohio. I mean, he went to Ohio State. That's his alma mater. So let's say, for example, another school in the Big 10 comes knocking. Let's say a school like Michigan or a school like, gosh, I'm grasping at straws here, a school like Michigan State, or, I mean, you hear what I'm saying. If another Big Ten program comes knocking for Luke Fickell and says, we'll pay you X amount of money, and you get to go and have a chance to beat Ohio State every year, who am I to turn that down if I'm Luke Fickell? That's a pretty good opportunity. I like the sound of that. So I think Luke Fickell's he's one of the less sticky coaches in this whole conversation. I love Cincinnati with Luke Fickell. Without him, I don't think that you have as great a chance to be competitive for a Big 12 title as soon as some of these other schools. My money lies with UCF. For this conversation, I think UCF will be the quickest to win a Big 12 title out of this entire group. Mainly being because, well, the same reason I think Cincinnati has a chance to be competitive early if Luke Fickell stays. Gus Malzahn is not going anywhere. He's been to the mountaintop. He's been to the SEC. He was at Auburn. Like Paul Catalina said on the Big 1-2 the other day, they chewed him up and spat him out. And that's tough. That is tough to be at the highest ranks of college football and then be spit out. And now he's kind of landed on this lottery ticket in UCF where you have the largest enrollment. You're in a great spot to recruit in the state of Florida. You are already a school that was kind of knocking on the door of being Power 5, and now you're going to be Power 5 as it turns out. So bottom line, Gus Malzahn's not going anywhere. There's going to be things built out within UCF. From a continuity standpoint, they are going to continue to allow them to be competitive and even borderline elite amongst the college football landscape. I love UCF because of Gus Malzahn, and like I said, the state of Florida, the recruiting bed, the access they have to talent is second to none. Again, no knock against Houston. I think they have their work cut out for them with competing for talent. No knock against BYU, but I think they'll have more trouble in terms of the guys they can get because of the perception their school has. And zero knock against Cincinnati, but UCF has the most talent in their backyard, and now they have the Power 5 branding to go and try and get some more of that talent they couldn't get. Because before you're going toe-to-toe with Florida, Florida State, Miami, and you're still getting some of those recruits, but Florida and Florida State and Miami's pitch is, well, you want to come play Power 5 football, young man? You want to come play for us and play for a national title? Go to UCF if you want, but you can't play for a national title and be against the best talent, be against the best teams in the country like you can at our school, at Florida State, at the U. UCF's in the Power 5 now, y'all. UCF's playing with the big boys. That's dangerous for some of these schools. That's dangerous. Now you can go in the living room and say, yeah, you can go to the SEC, you can go to the ACC. We're the only Big 12 school in the state of Florida. You want to come put UCF on the map, win the first Big 12 title for Central Florida? It's a good selling point, especially when you know your head coach isn't going anywhere. He's going to be there for a long time. They can sell continuity, and they can sell the Power 5 now for UCF. My money's on UCF, folks, and yours should be too. That's it for us here at The Hard Count. As always, subscribe to the channel, like the video. We want you along with us. This ride is moving and moving fast, so stay tuned. We're going to keep this party rolling as I mentioned. We will see y'all next time.